Taurus, how are you guys? This is Debs, and we, of course, are here for your reading for August 2026. I nearly tripped over my words, Taurus. Do forgive me. It's been one of those days. Taurus, in meditation, really strange. I was taken to a concert hall, and I felt as if I was being brought in right at the end of the performance. There was a pianist, a female pianist, and she did this incredible run on the piano all the way up to the top of the keyboard. And then out of nowhere, she pressed a key right at the other side of the keyboard, a really low note. And then she took a finger off the key. And people looked at each other as if to say, that was odd. That was really odd. Was it a modern take on a classical piece? Did she just do this on impulse? Was she trying to make a point? Nobody kind of knew, but she still got a standing ovation. And that's when I came out of meditation. So Taurus, I don't know whether or not you're going to do something totally unexpected. People may not know how to take it. It could be this is you suggesting something. It could be this is you doing something. I feel as if there's going to be silence around you when you talk about this. Well, yes, I know this is what I usually do, and this is how a situation usually goes, but nope. And I'm seeing again this woman pressing down a low note, just one note right at the end of the keyboard. You may want to do something alternative. You may want to freshen up the energy. I don't quite know what this is, Taurus, but people around you may be a bit surprised. I don't know whether or not it's good or not so good. It may just be that as a result, people will look at you differently. Oh, that's really unusual. Even if you do this and then you think, well, that was a mistake, people may remember it for a very long time. God, do you remember when we saw that pianist? It's the only pianist I've ever seen who finished a classical piece and then pressed that low note, right? Right at the end. How weird. Do you remember that? It might be this is a talking point for quite a long time, Taurus. Whatever this is, we will jump in. I'm sure you watch more than one of these readings, Taurus, but if you don't know, the deck is the Tarot of Mystical Moments. If you want to book a reading, I'm still offering 50% off all of my readings until further notice. And if you want to join as a member, the link is there too. So here we go. You are going to be doing something completely out of character, Taurus. I don't know whether or not you want to shock people. I don't know whether or not you're trying to make a point. Oh, you think I'm going to do this as I always do, as I've done for years? No, I'm going to do that. Taurus, whether or not you're just wanting to cause a stir. Here we go. So Archangel Michael, what do we have for my lovely Taurians, please? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, masculine or feminine? What do we have for Taurus, please? This is August 2026. I keep hearing the talking point, the talking point, the talking point. People are going to talk about this, Taurus. People are going to talk about this. All right, guys, what you doing? What you doing, Taurus? Oh, 4 of Wands, 4 of Wands. So Taurus, I don't know whether or not this is you stepping outside the norm, because the 4 of Wands is a very traditional situation. This is you in a stable job. This is you married. This is you in a stable situation. You could be doing something very unusual with your house. No? I don't know, but it is totally out of character. I keep hearing that. All right. All right. Yeah, 4 of Swords, you've been thinking about this. You've been considering this, Taurus. You've been considering doing something really unusual. All right. In the past, the Wheel of Destiny. I feel, Taurus, you allowed the divine to push you into a new cycle, or you might have been thinking about things behind the scenes. keeping things to yourself, right? Thinking, I want to do something fresh and different. I want to do something fresh and different. But you kept it under wraps. I mean, this is someone who has been thinking about doing something, but she's hidden it under her skirt, right? So you might have kept this under wraps. Not said anything, just in case people freaked out, right? After that time, Taurus, the 10 of Wands, okay. You may have felt a bit stressed, or you may have been thinking about an outside space. This could literally be something to do with your house and garden. We've got a house here and a garden, and we have this woman picking flowers. I don't know, Taurus, whether or not you're thinking about doing something very unusual in the garden, or with land you have, or space you have. This could even be something, Taurus, relating to earning money. Are you organising a fete in your garden? If you have a big enough garden. If you have a smaller garden, are you thinking of creating something that you could use in the garden? Are you thinking of extending out to create a separate studio that you could rent out? Which of course would be totally safe if it had its separate entrance and whoever was renting the studio could access via the garden, right? Your main house would be safe. I don't know. You're thinking about doing something outside the box that people do not expect you to do. This would be a group of people around you, whether or not these are friends, neighbours, family, who know that you love your garden, who know that you'd hate anyone to touch your space. And this may be you thinking, to hell with it, let's rip it all up, right? Let's do something very, very unusual. In your thoughts, my lovely Taurians, the strength card. I don't know whether or not this is something to do with your health. Are you thinking of getting rid of steps and creating a concrete ramp in case you end up in a wheelchair? I don't know. Are you thinking, as I get older, I don't want to have to deal with managing a big garden? I may only be connecting with a group of you, but I feel as if you are considering the future. Whether or not you're wanting to make money from this, or whether or not you want to do something which is going to protect you later on, or whether or not this is you thinking about, 20 years' time. We've got someone here feeling overloaded with flowers. It's as if, it's a chore. Oh, managing the garden every day is such a chore. And here you're holding back from saying anything or doing anything, but this is to do with your house or garden. You've been thinking about this. In the immediate future, Taurus, yes, Ace of Wands, you have a bright idea. You have a bright idea, Taurus. That rose blossoming from that book is rather like you pressing an odd key right at the bottom of the keyboard. Wow, okay. What's Taurus doing, In your fears, Knight of Pentacles. You're fearing, Taurus, that if you wait, you're going to chicken out. Or fearing, Taurus, that if you just keep this idea to yourself and never put it into progress, you're not going to benefit from it, or it's going to be too late in 5 years' time. You're really thinking about this, guys. In the environment, yes, is someone thinking of you with the Hierophant? You are thinking about doing something very unusual, very outside the box, totally unlike you. You got this brilliant idea, bright idea, whereas whoever you're connected to, could be friends, neighbours, your other half, it could be your kids, whoever you're connected to, they're sort of looking at you in astonishment. Taurus, you have never mentioned that you'd want to do something like that before. I'm getting a sort of shocked silence. You want to do what? Say that again, Taurus. You want to do what? Right? Yeah. In your hopes, guys, hoping that it's not going to lead to someone feeling heartbroken. If you've got a partner, Taurus, and this is, your partner who loves the garden, you're hoping they will agree. They will see that this is a practical decision you're making, even though it's a bit alternative. And the outcome is victory and success, Taurus. The outcome is victory and success. You're going to do this. You're going to do this because you're going to be getting something from it that you are not getting at the moment. This could simply be you using your resources wisely. Well, I love my garden, but for goodness sake, I'm not out there every day. It's just wasted space. I could use it for something else, or I could make money from it. Yeah. Clarification for you guys, Ace of Swords. You know what you want to do, Taurus. And I think you're trying to find a way out of a toxic situation, which could be, I need to bring in some more money. I don't have anything I can sell. I don't want to leave the house, but hang on, I've got a big garden, right? It could be, Taurus, you've just been obsessively thinking about this, but up until now, you haven't mentioned anything. Whoever is sat in the Hierophant thinking of you is a King of Pentacles. This person, Taurus, if this isn't your partner thinking of you as a masculine, I think I'm connecting with a feminine, but your partner could be a feminine, you could be a masculine. Your partner, Taurus, is thinking about the financial stability of the situation, of your partnership, or this is someone, Taurus, who you may be approaching to get the house valued. The King of Pentacles can be a realtor, can be a financier, can be an architect, a farmer, a builder, someone who is connected to the land and anything material, right? Okay. Queen of Pentacles. So Taurus, this could be you, or you could be the King of Pentacles. This is someone thinking about long-term stability, long-term happiness. Why do I feel, Taurus, you're either talking to a couple about money, it could be about investment, it could be, if you're younger, this might represent your parents, or Taurus, you could be part of a couple and you may be suggesting to your partner that you do something a little bit alternative, and they may be a little taken aback because they are not expecting this of you, but they may be thinking, well, that actually makes financial sense. They may be, if this is a partner of yours, Taurus, that you own a property with, who, knows that you've got a decent sized garden, they may be saying to you, you know what, I haven't really thought about that before, but that's a brilliant idea. We'd have to lose most of the garden, but we could gain X, Y, Z, right? Underneath the deck, we have the Seven of Cups. So Taurus, you've been looking at options. Now, this could even be you as either the King or Queen of Pentacles. One of these people could be you. The other person could be an older child. The other person could be a mum or dad. You are talking to someone about this idea. Page of Pentacles. Yes, this is an idea. I wonder if we could do that, right? Yes. Yes. But the main thing, Taurus, that you're thinking about is whatever I do, I want to hang on to the house itself. So you may be wanting to do something with the garden or build on the garden because you need to make some money, but you're determined to hang on to the actual property. So I know this sounds a bit specific, guys, and I'm so sorry, if you're there renting, thinking, well, that's not my reading. I'm definitely connecting with a Taurian who has availability of land even if it's a really small garden, some kind of availability of land attached to their house. And I think, Taurus, you are thinking about doing something very unusual with the land. I don't know, you could be thinking to yourself, well, I've just got a massive expanse of lawn. If you're lucky enough to be in that situation, you may be thinking, I'm going to turn the whole of the back garden into a small market gardening company. You might be sitting in a house with a lovely orchard. And what you're thinking about is, I could actually create a little small holding business in my back garden. I could do that. It may be, Taurus, you are considering extending a space to add value to the house. You're doing something with the land your house is sitting on, for sure. All right, so Taurus, you have been in deep thought about your Four of Wands, your house, your garden. Lots of images here of flowers, right? We got a woman holding onto a house, sitting in a garden. We have you here, standing in a field. This is you picking flowers. And something is blossoming in the immediate future. So Archangel Michael, tell us about the Four of Wands and the Four of Swords. Interesting, 4-4, all about stability. Yes, Queen of Swords. I think, Taurus, this is you symbolically looking at the future. You're doing something which is going to benefit you in the future because you want to make sure you hang on to your house. Now, you may even be creating something in your garden like a very small gîte, a small studio that you can rent out because maybe you're struggling paying your mortgage. And you're thinking, well, I don't want to sell my house, but I've got to find another way of bringing in money. You could be retired, okay? And this is you thinking, all right, well, I'm going to see how much it's going to cost to build a gîte, make sure it meets health and safety standards, make sure it has its own entrance, but I could rent it out. Particularly, maybe, with the economy as it is, people can't afford 4-star hotels. So people may be wanting to economize and maybe looking at, people who are renting out gîtes on their land or people who are doing Airbnb in their house. You're doing something, Taurus, that you feel is going to benefit you and yours maybe in the long term. Yes, yes. Building. Where? Looks to me as if you're building in the garden. You're building in the garden, Taurus. You're going to make sure it looks pretty. If you are thinking about doing something like this, I mean, this is you thinking, well, I just, there's no way I want some bright red brick block in my garden. It's going to look unsightly. You may be wanting to choose materials very carefully, but you're thinking it's possible. It's possible. Yes. King of Swords. You may be talking to somebody about planning permission. You could. I mean, even if you've got a small garden, these days, if you are putting up a substantial structure, you need planning permission. Yeah. Yes. This, again, you, Taurus, I think is you wanting to hang on to your house. I don't want anyone to touch the house. No, we are not building in the basement. We are not building in the attic. No, no, no. But we could build in the garden. Right? We could build in the garden. Yeah. You're sitting in a little bit of trepidation, a bit of fear. Oh, gosh, what if it's messy? What if it doesn't work out? What if it's an eyesore? What if it doesn't work? What if nobody comes to stay? You're slightly nervous about doing this, but I think you want to give it a shot. So let's have a look at the Wheel of Fortune. You had this idea ticking in the back of your head. I could do this. We could do this. Whoever you're with, you could be single. Ten of Swords. Okay. Taurus, you were trying to come up with an idea of moving into a new cycle because there was a situation that became very, very unstable. You might have nearly lost your house. There was something that happened in the past where you felt betrayed. I don't know, guys, whether or not you had a beautiful expansive garden and then somebody built a really ugly building next door that overlooked your garden. You might have had a legal fight on your hands with a King of Swords recently. And this is you thinking, well, okay, you know, my view's ruined. So because the view is ruined, I may as well do something with the garden that's practical. I know it sounds a bit outside the box, guys, but that's what I'm getting. Ten of Swords. Yeah. I think, Taurus, somebody did something foolish which ruined what you enjoyed in the garden. And this is you thinking, well, now it's kind of ruined. I may as well make the most of the space out there. I mean, this is you planting beautiful rose bushes here. But what you didn't know was that you're about to get a nasty shock, right? This crocodile was coming up from under the earth to ruin what you'd created. There's something there about that. Something there about that. After that time, the Ten of Wands. Ten of Pentacles. Yes. Taurus, I think this is you wanting to hang on to the house. The house may be an asset, might be worth a fair bit. You might have paid off your mortgage, but you seem burdened about the garden. Wow, the garden's nice, but it takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of maintenance. So I think this is you hanging on to the house, but you are thinking about doing something in the garden. Yes. And it could be to make money. It could be to keep the value of the house. Tell us more about the immediate past for Taurus. Interesting. Five of Pentacles. Now, it wouldn't make any sense if I told you, Taurus, you're worried about money. No, because you're sat on the Ten of Pentacles. But you may have a lot of money wrapped up in the house, but you may not have a lot of liquid cash. And what you're thinking about is, well, rather than selling the house and move, I'll create something in the garden which is going to make money to bring in a little bit of extra every month. Yeah, you could just be wanting to boost your cash flow. Or Taurus, you may be thinking to yourself, you know what? I only actually enjoy the garden 3 or 4 months out of every year. The rest of the time, I'm never out there. It's all bare, it's cold, it's drizzly, I'm never out there. So what's the point in having this expansive garden if I very rarely use it? Yes, Page of Wands. Again, this is you outside in the garden, having a look around. Well, I've got this area here. I've got that area there. I wonder if that's big enough to build something on. In the immediate past, Taurus, you were simply wandering around thinking. Thinking in your house, thinking in your garden, talking to your partner or talking to your kids, right? In your thoughts now, we have the Strength card. Now, you are holding back from telling a lot of people about this. Or you might be thinking about your health. As I get older, I'm hardly going to be in the garden at all. Let's have a look at the Strength card. Yeah, 9 of Cups. What you're thinking about is, I don't want people to feel this is overindulgent of me, because it's not. This is me actually being practical. I mean, you know, this could be your neighbour or your kids or your other half saying, Taurus, really? This economy? You want to spend a few thousand on building that in the garden? But what they don't understand, Taurus, what they're going to later understand is it's somehow going to create revenue. You're going to be making money from this somehow. Somehow. Yeah. 5 of Cups. It may even be, guys, that what you're thinking about is half the time it's raining, the garden's drenched, the flowers all get ruined. For some of you, Taurus, you may be thinking about the environment. You may be thinking, I want to turn this expanse of lawn into a wildflower garden, into a space where I'm going to attract wildlife. You may. Or are you worried that the area that you're in is on a floodplain? Well, I don't want to build this and then for it to be flooded. Page of Swords. I'm hearing foundation. It needs to be raised up. So if you're building something, which might be a little studio, it could look like a really big garden shed, but, you know, with hot and cold running water, electricity, you may be thinking, I've got to raise it off the ground, up off the ground. So there's no problem with flooding. You get what I'm talking about here. This is you thinking this would have to be built on a really solid concrete foundation, you know, maybe with a damp course, raising it up in case it floods. Taurus, you may be out there thinking, Dad, what are you going on about? But this is for someone. What else is on your mind here, guys? 6 of Cups. I don't know, Taurus, whether or not you're then looking back at the past. Oh, but the children ran around on the grass. We'd have to cut down that tree. I've always loved that tree. You may be in your head iffing and amming. Do I really want to do this? Do I really want to do this? You're looking at memories from the past, Taurus. In the immediate future, I think you are talking to someone here about your brilliant idea. Your brilliant idea. You may have written notes in a book. You may have measurements written down. You could be talking to someone about plants, flowers. We need to shift that here and move that there and chop that down and level that ground. You are talking to someone who knows you very well. Could be extended family, or Taurus, you could be a wife and you're talking to your hubby, or you could be a hubby and you're talking to your wife. This could be you having a chat with an older child, even, or a very good friend of yours. Or you may be talking to a couple who's already done something like that to find out whether or not for them this type of thing was lucrative. You could have gone round to a next door neighbour's house, Taurus, and seen a very pretty little jeet. And they may have said to you, oh yes, you know, we rent it out for quite a lot of money every summer. And you may be thinking, gosh, that's a brilliant idea. Whoever you're talking to, Taurus, though, is rather mystified because this is very unlike you. Somehow, it's very unlike you. So, Archangel Michael, when do we have the Ace of Wands and the Hierophant for my Taurians? Thank you, Michael. September. Immediately I'm hearing September. Okay. Next month. All right. 24th of September. Okay. Month and 3 weeks, something like that. Pointing forward, I'm hearing March 2027. So Taurus, you are somehow going to be, I think, talking very seriously about what you want to do in September. And whoever you're talking to is thinking about you, normally sat in a very traditional energy. Now, that would make sense in terms of those dates, because this is something that may take 6 months to build. It might take 6 months to build. I wouldn't imagine, Taurus, unless you have a huge amount of space, I wouldn't imagine this is you building a four-bedroom house in your garden. This is a small structure, but you are going to use this to make money. Now, it may even be, Taurus, that this is you planning on putting an older child in there, or you could be thinking to yourself, well, when granddad gets a lot older, or when my mum reaches a certain age, rather than having her in the house, which could be awkward. She's going to have that little jeep to herself. She's going to have her own space. You could be creating a granny flat in the garden. Let's have a look at the Hierophant. No, let's have a look at you. Let's have a look at you. You are talking to this person about your idea, but you're a bit nervous with the moon. You're thinking, are they going to hate it? Are they going to agree with me? Are they going to say absolutely not? Taurus. Yeah, Six of Pentacles. You're talking to somebody about this. You might literally be talking to this person, having a cup of tea around the kitchen table, getting out the biscuits, right? I wonder what you'd think about this. So this could be a neighbour, good friend, older child, could be your partner. You are having a chat about your idea. You may be saying to them, look, I know it's going to cost money initially. There's going to be an outlay, but it could bring in some money, or it could help someone else out in the family. You're really talking about this. Yeah, you're really interested in finding out what this person thinks. Yes, Eight of Cups. This could also be you saying to your person or saying to your friend or kids or whoever, if someone leaves and ends up here, if somebody comes home, or if Granddad has to move out of his house to live with us, right, leaves where they are, we would have somewhere where they could go. They would have their own space. What else are you saying? Yeah, we'd have to move things around. I mean, it wouldn't be easy. We'd lose most of the garden, is what I'm hearing. Okay. Yeah, Taurus, this is you just thinking outside the box. Knight of Swords. Five of Wands, Knight of Swords. You may say to this person, I'm conflicted as to whether or not you'd be cross about this idea. Would you not like this? Would you feel you wouldn't agree to this? This could be you talking to somebody who owns the house with you. Or you could be talking to your partner, okay, who might love their garden. Yeah, Taurus, you are seeing what this person thinks. Yes. This is you wanting to create something new. It might look like that. It could be a glorified shed in your back garden with a nice door. I don't know, Taurus. You're definitely talking to someone about this. This is, as far as you're concerned, a very practical idea, but they may be a bit dumbfounded thinking, wow, didn't expect this to come from Taurus. Anything else, Taurus? Six of Swords. You may talk to this person and they may say, well, Taurus, we'd have to get a crane in the back garden. I don't know whether or not it would be possible to get a piece of equipment into the back garden to help build this, to actually put it up. I'm just seeing a crane here for some reason. They may not feel this is practical. You may be saying, well, we could lift items over the roof, or we could try and get a skip transported into the garden. Let's have a look at whomever you're talking to. They're a bit shell-shocked. It's as if, okay, Taurus, you're ripping up the garden, you're creating a little sheet, all right. Yes, they're not thrilled. They may be a little bit defensive to begin with. They may be a little bit defensive to begin with. Emperor. Could be an older masculine. Could be a partner. Okay. Or this person may be saying, I don't know if I want your elderly dad living in the garden. Whoever this person is may feel it's not quite what they wanted. Eight of Pentacles. They may be talking more about the aesthetics, Taurus, than talking about you actually creating a structure in the garden. They may be saying something like, well, I thought you were going to suggest putting a very pretty pagoda up or a summer house. You're actually wanting to build a gîte in the garden? They may be a bit surprised. They may have thought you would have wanted something prettier, something to accentuate the garden rather than something practical in the garden. You're thinking about creating somewhere where somebody could actually live. Whoever this is rather surprised because they might have expected you to talk about putting up a really big, beautiful rose arch or a lovely seat. You're not. And they're just a little bit surprised. What are they thinking? It's going to be a really big deal. You're talking about a big structure here, Taurus. They may feel as if you do this, it's going to be chaos for a few months. What else are they thinking about? They may talk to you about planning permission. We'd have to get planning permission for this. What else are they saying? Okay, Taurus, they may say no, or they may say, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure about this. Nine of Swords. After this conversation, Taurus, they're going to have a few sleepless nights. I mean, this is this person imagining you organising a massive digger in the back garden. You know, everything in chaos, most of your beautiful garden gone, and a couple of workmen out there for 6 months building a rather ugly square building in the corner of your garden. That's what they imagine. But Taurus, you don't see it that way at all. And this may not be your partner. This could be, you know, an older child saying, Mom or Dad, you're crazy, right? Or this could be a neighbour saying, well, you could do this, but yes, it's going to be very noisy for us over the next 6 months if you do this, Taurus. It's going to be very noisy as next door neighbours. Let's have a look at the energy between you. Four of Cups. Yeah. I mean, Taurus, you're there disappointed because you were hoping this person would agree this was a great idea. They're thinking about the noise, the chaos, dust everywhere, the garden ripped apart. They're not overly thrilled. Nope. Okay. Now, Taurus, what you are fearing is holding fire because your person's not very interested, or your neighbours don't really want you to do this, or your kids think you're crazy. You really feel that this would be a good thing to do. You may even feel, Taurus, that it might add to the value of your house, right? With the energy of the Three of Swords, what you're hoping is you're not going to be sitting there feeling heartbroken if you realise that whoever this is would stop you. But the outcome, Taurus, I think is very positive because, I mean, this is victory and success. I think this could be you changing this person's mind. Could be. Could be, Taurus. So, guys, let's have a look at the Six of Wands. They may agree, Taurus, after some careful thought. What are they going to say? The High Priestess. They may not say very much. They may say, well, can I think about this? What are they considering here? What are they considering? They may be considering other people in the mix, or other neighbours, or family members. What's the rest of the family going to think? What are you going to say? Judgment. I think this is a really good idea. I think this will be a good judgment call. And if other people don't like it, tough. Taurus, you seem to be putting your foot down, guys. What is your energy in this? I mean, how are you feeling about this? I think, Taurus, you believe this is a brilliant idea. The sun. Yes, brilliant idea. I think this is a great idea. What are you saying to this person? I'm so sorry. Archangel Michael showed me a bulldozer. Taurus, are you bulldozing over this person's refusal to look at this? Are you basically saying, sorry, but we are doing this, or I am doing this? What are you saying? Yeah, exactly that, Taurus. Sorry, but I think this is what I need to do, or we need to do. We can start slowly. We don't need to rush it. It doesn't need to be all done in 3 months. I think, Taurus, this is you basically saying, well, should we get quotes? Or I'm going to get an architect around here. Or I'm going to see if somebody could draw up plans. You may even be saying to someone, I want to show you what somebody else has done in their garden. I want to show you what they've done because we would be doing something similar. You're determined, Taurus. You believe this is a really good idea. 3 of Wands. You already imagining the future. You're already imagining your ship coming in symbolically. You're already thinking this change could be wonderful and practical, right? I think you're changing this person's mind. Yeah, 8 of Wands. I think you're changing this person's mind. Okay, if this is really what you want to do, okay. What are they saying? Let's have a final card. What else are they saying here? 8 of Wands, they're communicating with you. The Hanged Man. They may be saying to you, Taurus, I do see your perspective. Yes, I do see where you're coming from. But as long as I'm not going to have to sacrifice because of this. So this is maybe someone who lives with you, Taurus, thinking, wow, it's going to be really noisy with contractors and builders in the garden for 6 or 8 months. This could be an older child saying, Mom, I'm not having this massive construction overlooking my bedroom at the back of the house. No, as long as it's not going to affect me. You may be putting neighbours' minds at rest that this would be done very quickly at a low level. Taurus, I think you're persuading whoever this is that this is actually a really good idea. Because the final card, Taurus, is victory and success. All right, people. So here we go. Let's see what the universe has to say. This is the Enchanted Forest. Beautiful deck. Archangel Michael, what does the universe have to say to my lovely Taurians to close out their reading? Forge a new path. And look, we have an owl. Gosh, what a beautiful image. Taurus, forge a new path. When you make new choices, you create new results. Let go of old patterns and embrace the power of possibility. You're fully supported. I think, Taurus, the universe is right behind you on this. I think the advice is go for it. Go for it, Taurus. Okay? Yep. All right. So, guys, a rather unusual reading, but I'm going to leave it there. Take care of you and do let me know if you feel this resonates. And, of course, I will be back before you know it with your next set of readings. See you soon, Taurus. Bye, guys.